speaking to Arjuna, never was there a time when I did not exist. This is about Krishna telling Arjuna. There was never a time when I did not exist, nor you Arjuna, nor all these kings who had assembled on the battlefield. Nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Means, I existed in the past, you existed in the past, and all these kings who are here also existed in the past, before this life. We are all existing presently, and in future also will continue to exist. So there will never be a time when we will just vanish or when we will not exist. So that was the main fear of Arjuna, that he will have to kill his kinsmen. Some of them, you can say the reason is valid, because people like Duryodhana, Dushasana, they did real bad activities. They were envious of Arjuna and Pandavas. They insulted their wife and took away their kingdom. Valid reason. They had every good reason to kill Duryodhana, Dushasana, and those who are miscreant. But what fault was that of Bhishma, Drona, Kripa? They never thought anything ill about Pandavas. They were honest people. They always, in fact, they were the ones who protected Pandavas. When Pandu Maharaj died, the Pandavas were very young boys. Kunti Maharani had no shelter. So she had to come back to Hastinapur. It was Bhishma who invited them, who gave them shelter. And it was Vidura who protected all of them, in spite of all the attempts by Duryodhana and his brothers to kill Pandava. You have seen, so from childhood we can see conspiracy one after another trying to kill Pandavas. Bhishma protected all along, and he was very fond of the Pandavas. So there was absolutely no fault on their part. But the precarious situation was, they were standing before him on the battlefield. For the reason that Bhishma Deva took a vow that whoever sits on the throne of Kuru Vamsha, I will protect. That was his loyalty to the throne, irrespective of the individual who is there, good or bad. So that was his vow. And also another reason given in Shastra is, they were taking maintenance from the king. So whatever they need was given by the king. They were obliged to follow the king or be with the king in the time of emergency. So that was the reason why they were standing on the other side. But Arjuna had to fight. He had no choice. So when the battle begins, before the battle there is a choice. Now actually what we speak as party defection is there in Mahabharata also. It happened. But it happens before the battle. Just before the start of the battle, Yudhishthira Maharaj makes an announcement. Just before both the parties were standing. On one side was 7 Akshauhinis, another was 11. Kaurava's party was bigger. They had 11 Akshauhinis. Pandavas had only 7 Akshauhinis. So before the battle began, Yudhishthira made an announcement. If anybody wants to change party, go on this side or that side. If anybody wants to change the sides, they can do now. They can do now. So, but there is no changing party after the battle begins. They had to change the party. And in fact, it did happen. One of the brothers of Duryodhana came on the side of Pandavas, one brother. And that brother was killed by Duryodhana himself. He was like a cousin, step-brother, not his direct brother, step-brother, born of another mother. So he was first to come this side. So that was there, party defection changing. But not after you win and then you change party for power's sake. That is illegal, that is unethical. So that was allowed. And the parties were decided who was to standing on which side. After seeing the opposite party, Purva Paksha, Arjuna asks Krishna, please, you see in the first chapter, so please take me in the middle of the battlefield so that I can see who all have come here to fight and who all have come here to support the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra, that is Duryodhana. He wanted to see, because he wanted to make an estimate of who is on the other side for that purpose also. But when he saw his Matulan, Pitrin, Pautran, his sons, his grandsons, his fathers, teachers, when he saw all these relatives, he became little disturbed internally. He was little upset and he was overcome by compassion. And he could not fight. He had come with full anger, all the anger to fight. But when he saw his own kinsman, he could not continue the fight. So that's when he became very upset, morose, and then he says, I cannot fight. I cannot fight, and his Gandiva is shaking. He could not even hold his Gandiva. He was sweating. And then Arjuna, seeing Arjuna in such a condition, that is the first chapter we see. Second chapter, Krishna addresses him and saying, Kutasva kasmalamidam vishame samupasitam. From where has this impurities come upon you? Although for an ordinary man, for an onlooker, what Arjuna thought looks very noble. He doesn't want to fight. That's a great thing. He is non-violent. He is forgiving. He is very tolerant. This looks very, very auspicious and glorious qualities of forgiveness. But Krishna is saying this is weakness. This is weakness of heart. Hridaya Daurbalyam. It's not of the quality of a Kshatriya to reject fighting, because that is his dharma. For he has to fight for the sake of establishing Sadharma. That is where. So Krishna literally chastises him for this contamination and asks him, from where have this contamination come upon you? So this doesn't become you. And then again Arjuna once again gives some more reasons additional to the first chapter. Some more reasons why he doesn't want to fight and why he should not do the fighting. It will be stained with blood and other things. And Krishna doesn't speak. You see, Krishna doesn't speak while Arjuna is giving his justification of why he doesn't want to fight. And Krishna waits until Arjuna surrenders. That's a famous 7th chapter, 7th sloka it began. Karpanya dosha pahata svabhava prichami tvam dharma sammuda cheta. Yashreya shannishitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadimam tvam prabannam. I don't know, I surrender unto you. I am not able to understand what is for my good. What should I do? So I am surrendering unto you. I am your Shishya now. Please accept me as disciple and instruct me what is really good for me. So Krishna was waiting for this point when Arjuna has to surrender. For us also, sometimes we think God is not directing us, God is not giving us the proper guidance, I am not able to understand. We think we are not getting the right guidance from the Lord. But to get the right guidance from the Lord, we have to surrender like Arjuna did here. We don't surrender, we come up with our own ideas, speculations of what we want to do, and we expect the Lord to give us the proper direction. Until the point we surrender, Krishna will not interfere in our decision. He lets us play our game, and when we are tired, when we are surrendered, only then Krishna starts speaking or giving us instruction. And the very first thing that Lord Krishna does or speaks to Arjuna is to bring him to his senses. Chastise him literally. He is saying, Ashocha nanva shochastam pragyavadascha bhasase gatasun agatasuncha nana shochanti pandita. Hey Arjuna, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. He is indirectly saying, you are speaking as if you are a very learned person, Pandita. You are giving this and reason. You are saying in Shastra it is mentioned that we should not kill the ancestor, elderly people, this and that. You are speaking as if you are very Pandita. But one who is Pandita does not speak like this. What you are saying is very indirect and very gentleman way of saying that you are not intelligent. If I say somebody has done something, he will say, what you have done, an intelligent person would not do that, doesn't do that. That means we are directly saying you are not an intelligent person. So he is saying you are thinking like you are speaking like Pandita, but the Pandita doesn't behave the way you are behaving. The Pandita doesn't lament for living nor the dead. So when the question of duty comes in, so the Pandita doesn't hesitate to perform his duties. And after chastising Arjuna, that's why we say why we need a guru is somebody who will twist our ear. That is Guru. Guru is one who corrects us. Guru is the one who sets us on the right. Whenever we go off track, Guru is one who protects us. And our well-wisher is one who guides us, who corrects us. That's why there is a very famous saying. The problem with most of us is that we would rather be ruined by praise. We would rather be ruined by praise than be saved by feedback. It is problem with most of us. You understood the point? Ruin means getting spoiled. We don't mind getting spoiled by praise. Somebody praises us and pampers us, saying you are very good, you are great, you are doing well. That's all right with us. That may spoil us because we get puffed up and we even lack our performance. We'll never come to know where we are wrong. That's okay. But if somebody corrects us, gives us the exact feedback that, sir, you are wrong here. This, what you did was wrong. We don't like that. It's very bitter. So here, Guru is one, or well-wisher is one who corrects us. Present day, we are not in a position to accept corrections, accept what is wrong. That's why Acharyas have been telling, the program that the modern world has chalked out, the understanding of life that has been taught to us, that we have accepted as the norm, is very, very wrong. It's just most of us are living in a very, very wrong idea of life itself. If you ask people what is life all about, just say get good education, get a good job, or do some occupation to make a lot of money and acquire some facilities for living happily, comfortably, and then continue that and put the next generation on the same path, and somehow anyway the life will end someday. Correct? Retirement, and just there is very, very less education or less intent to take up the spiritual path, isn't it? Most of us from beginning we are told work hard so that you are able to make some money, so that money you can spend on taking care of yourself, family, and life goes on. That's it. Until last day we are preaching the same concept to the next generation. So this is our understanding. There is no idea of Janma, there is no idea of Janma Mrityu, next life, preparation for next life. That is not being taught. So that's what Arjuna is being told, the very first lesson, that what you have thought of life, what is your understanding of this whole situation, is very wrong. And the 12th sloka is the first ever philosophical teaching of Krishna. This is the first ever philosophical teaching. Until then, Krishna is correcting Arjuna, Krishna is telling where Arjuna is wrong, that he is not a Pandita, that's fine. This is the first ever philosophical speech, philosophical discussion of Krishna, where he is saying that I am eternal, means Krishna as Lord himself, I am eternal, I have been existing in the past, you are also eternal, you have been existing in the past, and all these individuals are also existing in the past, we are in the present, and we will also continue to exist in the future also. So this is speaking about the eternal nature of the soul. Right away, Krishna is addressing the actual nature, our original constitutional nature. Because we know that as individuals, our identity is that we are Atma. We are not the body. Body is only the covering that the soul has accepted. And the soul is drop this and take up another body. This changing of body by the soul is an ongoing process. We call Janma Mrityu Chakra. So that is the first lesson that Krishna is giving here. So he is saying the soul is eternal and soul continues his existence even after the end of the present body. And the body keeps changing. Soul continues to change its body. So this we can discuss in detail. I will just read the purport that Srila Prabhupada is giving further explanation. In the Vedas, in the Katha Upanishad, as well as in the Shetashara Upanishad, it is said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the maintainer of innumerable living entities. God is the one who protects, who provides for our facilities, the maintainer of all innumerable living entities. In terms of their different situations, according to individual work and reaction of the work. We know about the karma siddhanta. As the individual does his karma, accordingly he will get a body based on the qualification. And based on the work in the present life, he prepares for the next body. We get a body based on our previous karma. That is the karma siddhanta. So according to their karma, different entities have taken different bodies, we see here. And for all of them, Lord is the provider. We can say we are providing for human society. But who is providing for the living entities in the forest, who are on the hilltop? You can see sometimes a plant is growing on top of a rock, correct? And there are living entities all over. They are all fed. In fact, they are taken care of better than under us. In the forest, we see all the variety of flora and fauna is maintained by the Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is also by his plenary portions alive in the heart of every living entity. And in each of us, he is present as the Paramatma, who is the guide for us. Only saintly persons who can see within and without the same Supreme Lord can actually attain to the perfect and eternal peace. So only the saintly persons who accept the Shastra and who can see the presence of the Lord, they can attain peace. Otherwise, if we do not accept the authority of the Lord or the maintenance of the Lord, we will remain peace, what we call in anxiety or always in disturbance. There is a verse also. Nitya nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. It's saying the same Vedic truth given to Arjuna is given to all persons in the world who pose themselves as very learned but factually have but a poor fund of knowledge. Just like many people pose themselves to be learned, even learned in Bhagavad Gita. But if you see their understanding, the understanding of Shastra, it will be very limited because they haven't studied in the proper guidelines, in the proper parampara. Just like if you want to study physics, you have to learn from one who has studied physics. One who just cooks up his own theories and presents, he cannot take. It has to come from a certain discipline or certain parampara. The Lord says clearly that He Himself, Arjuna and all the kings who are assembled on the battlefield are eternally individual beings, and that the Lord is eternally the maintainer of individual living entities both in their condition and in their liberated situations. Here the new comes is one term, conditioned life and liberated life. So what is conditioned life? What is liberated life? So this whole discussion, we have to get a preliminary understanding. I don't know if you heard this before, that there are two words. I'm just summarizing the truth. Two words, we all heard of this. One is the spiritual word, another is the material word. What is generally called as Vaikuntha Loka and the Martya Loka, or this material word. Correct? Material word. And the spiritual word is the place where Lord stays, the Supreme Lord Vishnu, Krishna stays, and the living entities also are staying there. That is the residential place of living entities. And this material word is compared to a prison house. We say Durga. Durga means a fort. Durga is the superintendent of this fort, Durga. And for those who have violated the laws of the kingdom of God, who have desired to stay away or apart from the Lord, independent of the Lord, and want to enjoy separately from the Lord. So they have been sent here for two purposes. Why is anyone sent to the jail? For two purposes. One is for punishment, another is for reformation, for correction, so that they realize their mistake, that they violated the law. Who goes to the jail? Who violates the civil laws? He is sent there for punishment and rectification. So we have been sent here as living entities, sent here for the purpose of punishment, which is in the form of Janma Mrityu Chakra Jara Vyadhi, the ongoing suffering that we are going through. For suffering, and also for the purpose of purification or rectification, reformation, for the reformation purpose. So that those souls who are in the spiritual world, they are called as Siddha Bhaktas, Siddha Jiva. Also another name called as Krishna Sevonmukha Jiva. Krishna Sevonmukha, who are serving Krishna. Krishna Sevonmukha Jiva are in the spiritual world. And those who are in the material world here, so they are called as Krishna Bahirmukha Jiva. Bahirmukha means they have turned their face away from Krishna. Also called as Baddha Jiva, conditioned souls. So this is those who are in the conditioned soul. For both of them, both for the souls in the spiritual world and the conditioned souls here, for both of the living entities, Lord is the protector. Just like the king. King protects people in the society, civic society, and also in the prison house. He is maintaining both the categories of people. The Supreme Person of Godhead is the supreme individual person, and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal associate, and all the kings assembled there are individual eternal persons. It is not that they did not exist as individuals in the past, nor is it that they will not remain eternal persons. Their individuality existed in the past, and their individuality will continue in the future without interruption. Therefore, there is no cause for lamentation for anyone. So, their individuality existed in the past, they were individuals in the past, and presently also they are individuals. So, there is no cause of lamentation for Arjuna that any of them will be destroyed. Because destruction is only for the body. And for us, to begin with ourselves, we are consisting of two components. In us, there are two components are there. One is the soul, which is our true identity. Another is the body. So we are a combination of the soul and the body. Agree? We are a combination of the soul and body. We all accepted a body and there is a soul inside. And the body exists to live or continues to live as long as the soul is inside the body. The moment soul comes out of the body is no more alive. It's a very clear understanding that we have heard examples also. We say somebody dies. What do we say? He passed away. Guzar gaye, chale gaye, hotodro, poi. So all these words in our language it is there. So who passed away? The body is in front of us, but we are not attached to the body. So we can very clearly see the difference between a living entity and the dead person. The same person who was before us, we could see that there is something missing. We are no more interested in the body which is lying before us. And as you see, the moment the soul leaves the body starts decaying. Slowly it starts stinking, decaying. Otherwise, while the soul is there, the same body is still fresh. It is active, and it is functioning. As soon as the soul leaves the body starts decaying. And the temperature, the heat in the body also cools down. It becomes cold. The dead body is very cold. So we are a combination of two things. One is the soul and the other is the body. But our actual identity is that we are soul. And the soul accepts body after body because depending on his karmic activities. He does certain karma and then because of that he gets a certain kind of body and again he continues this cycle of karma, doing karma and accepting body because of karma phala and doing karmas again in that body, and again as a result of that the cycle of karma phala accepting body is an ongoing process. So we accept a body. In that body there are two varieties of bodies, that also you would have heard. One is the gross body and the other is the subtle body. The gross body which we can see, gross is which we can see from our eyes. So gross body is made up of the what we can see as a physical form is made up of the 5 elements. That is called Bhumir, Apo, Analo, Vayu, Kham. The 5 Panchabhutas are made up, this body is made up of the Panchabhutas. How, in what form? The earth is present in the form of the bones, the flesh, the hair, the visible which you can feel, the hard portion. Correct? We have the bones, we have the flesh, we have the skin. This is the earth portion. And what is the water portion? In the form of water itself. We say 70% of our body consists of water. There is water and blood. That is in the form of water is available. Earth, water. Fire. How is fire present in our body? Heat, body temperature. You see, that is symptom of living entity. That body is warm. And also we have the Jataragni, the Agni in the fire, digestive fire. That is the Agni. Bhumi, Rapo, Analo. Vayu. We have air in the body. Actually we say there are 49 Marutas. 49. In that 10 Vayus are very, very predominant. Pradhana. Among them 5. Prana, Apana, Samana, Vyana, Udana. The 5 airs, life airs. So there are 10 life airs. Naga, Krikara, another Devadatta, Dhananjaya, like that 10 life airs are there. So these are life airs are what protects and maintains our body. Some help in upward movement, some help in downward movement, some help in maintaining equilibrium. Some helps maintaining our balance, body balance in functioning. Almost all our bodily activities are supported by the life airs. Correct? And then there are pranas. We have the what you call a chakras, pranas and nadis. Actually only 3 things maintain the body, our whole body. The chakra, the pranas and the nadis. Nadi is the what we call as the nervous system. They are present all over the body. It is through nadi that the nutrition is supplied all over the body, correct? How many nadis are there in human body? 72,000 nadis are there. 72. See what a network. In a house to fit in 10 wires we struggle so much. How to connect this and that. Imagine one's whole body where 72,000 wires are connected, running parallel. 72,000 nadis are there. Nadis, then the chakras. Chakras means basically what is the literal meaning of chakra? When you say chakra in a vehicle, what do you mean? Wheel. Chakra, without chakra, what is the point, what is the meaning of any vehicle? What is the use of any vehicle? You have the best of engine, you have the best of equipment, everything is first class, but you don't have a wheel. What will you do with the vehicle? It's of no use, you cannot move. So chakra is that on which the body moves. That is the base on which the body functions. That is chakra. And then the prana vayus, the vayus which function, which carry the energy. Anyway, that is a detailed discussion. So nadis, through the nadis, all the functions work. Correct? So in that, through that nadis, the blood flows and water also, nutrition flows. So that is the bhumi, apo, anolo. That is fire and the air, body air. Then the kham. In which form is the akash or the sky available? What is the form? We know earth is visible in the form of flesh, bone, etc. is earth. Water is available in our body. Water we can see. Fire we can see in the form of body heat and jatragni. And I said the air is also present in the form of the prana vayus. Air is there. And the sky. In what form sky is available? In the form of space. Yeah, space. I have covered certain amount of space or the volume of my body. And what other form? Space is one form. What is other form? Sound. The sky is present in our body in the form of sound. Sound is a form of sky. Is a form of the ether. That is the sound. This is the gross body. And another covering, that is the first covering. The another inner covering is the subtle body, which is consisting of mind, intelligence and ego. Subtle because we cannot see. Mind, we say we have mind, but we cannot really see it or sense it. We cannot visually see it. Mind, intelligence, discrimination. Mind means feeling, willing, thinking, our memory, storing our previous memories, and discrimination is intelligence. Intelligence is where we think and decide and discriminate. Intelligence. And the finest of all is false ego, what is called ahankar. False ego is what we call as identification. Ego usually we say in terms of the ego part, what we speak of is just generic understanding. But the real ego, what it means is the sense of identity, identification. Who am I when you identify? That is the ego. So this is the gross and the subtle body. Both are only the body, physical bodies that we have. And the real person who is traveling in this body of gross and subtle body is the living entity, which is the soul, which is very, very subtle, which we cannot see, but we can feel its presence. How do you feel the presence of soul? Through the way of consciousness. If a body is conscious, is responding, is alive, that means the soul is existing inside that body. And our actual real identity is the soul. And how, okay, simple, nice example, how we realize that we are the soul. What is the nature? What is the nature of the soul? The nature of soul is, it has, just like physical body, we have nature. It responds, like, it can feel heat and cold, it can movement. These are the symptoms of soul. And what is symptom of soul? This is symptom of body. Symptom of soul is threefold, which is called as Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat means it is eternal. Chit means it is full of knowledge. And Ananda is full of happiness. It is fully happy. It is enlightened. It is happy, always happy. Sat, Chit, Ananda. And when we see ourselves, if you study ourselves from the very beginning of our life till today and on a daily basis, we are usually after three things. All of us working hard, going around, doing all our activities. All of us are doing basically three things. One thing is that we want to exist, we want to live. There is a, what you call as survival instinct. You look at a child, small baby, it has survival instinct. It can sense any threat to its body. If there is any kind of pain, immediately the baby responds. If there is any danger, it can sense it. It will move away from that. You block the path of an ant, it will find its own way. Correct? If you see a cockroach, if you try to hit it, it will sense that somebody is after me. Correct? Small entities, a plant, if the sunlight is not available, it will take a diversion and find its way. All living entities have a instinct to survive. We want to live. Correct? And that's why we spend so much money. One of the biggest industries is the hospital industry, which is, what is the motivation for people going to hospital or spending money on hospitalization? Is that we want to exist, we want to continue our existence. We want to live, right? That is the whole purpose, live. That comes from our Sat feature. Because originally we were existing. It comes from our original instinct of Sat feature. It's just like example, if somebody comes from a family where discipline is taught, they get up on time, sleep on time, they wash their hands before eating. If you are coming from such a family, wherever you go, your habits continue. You will always look for a wash basin wherever you want to eat. But the person who is not trained is okay, he can eat anything, he doesn't mind washing. Correct? If you are trained in a certain way, then your habits continue. Because this practice comes from your original upbringing, your original nature, correct? So our original nature is to live eternally. The soul's nature is Sat, eternally. That's why this hankering, striving and the instinct to survive and continue living is there where it's coming from. That is Sat feature. Then there is Chit feature. We are always inquisitive to know. Why there are so many universities, colleges, human beings want to learn things. We want to absorb whatever we see, we want to learn about it. That is the Chit feature. The tendency or the hankering or yearning to know things, such Chit. And Ananda, happiness. What are you working for? All the effort is to be happy. The whole entertainment industry is running. For what? Why people go for entertainment? This all the forms to be happy. All the form of vacation, all the form of this, so many games around, going to the Wonderla, or so many things have come up. For what? To become happy. Why we are setting up families and taking care of families? To be happy. So the whole purpose of why is anyone doing anything for so much of hard work, to earn money is to become happy. So the instinct to survive, instinct to live as long as possible. Nobody wants to die. Because the idea of, now we are sitting here, the concept of death doesn't appeal. Although we know people have been living bodies and we also continue to live. But we cannot really just accept the body that I will just die. In our mind, we presume that I will continue to live. Because by nature, we are not used to death. We are not used to end of or cessation of existence. We are not used to that. The soul by nature lives eternally and continually. That's why this instinct of wanting to live all the time continues in us. And knowledge and the Ananda part also is because we are originally a part of our nature. But unfortunately, as mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, somehow or other, which we cannot really see at this point of time. See, somebody is in the thick of darkness, he cannot really figure out what has happened. So because of this dark covering of ignorance in on the layer of our consciousness, we are not able to see the clarity of our own origin and why we are stuck here. That's why Prabhupada several times uses the word somehow or the other, we have come to this material world. Though we are from the spiritual world, somehow or other, we have come to this material world and we have been forced to take bodies after body. Does anyone want to take a body? Although we want to control our existence, but do you have any control? Without our control, our life moves on, we become old. Without our control, we have to one day leave our body. Nothing is in our control. Correct? Beyond our control. We are forced to accept body after body. And that again, as it's mentioned here, the changing of body happens by, there is an arrangement, there is a system for that, there is a process. There are devatas, there are authorities who can see, who control things, who have a set of process of our ongoing change of body after body. So this has been going on and on and on. The living entity comes here and it keeps on changing bodies one after another into 84 lakh species. The modern biologists, the botany and zoologists have counted up to 5 million species. They do not classification of species. They identify different species. Their present count is at 5 million count. But the Shastra count is 8.4 million species. That is 84 lakhs. 84 lakh species. They say 50 lakh species is the count they have made. But they haven't seen all the living entities, correct? So there are so many living entities inside water, in the middle of the forest, which they have not discovered it. But the Shastra gives a count of 84 lakh species. So we take from the Shastra that the Jiva accepts body one after another, And in the lower species, it is helplessly put into various situations, correct? So where it comes, changes, and after changing so many bodies, it comes to the human form of body. And as Shastra mentions, it is a great opportunity for the soul, for the living entity, to exit the cycle of birth and death. And one who is intelligent among human beings utilizes this opportunity to achieve. Chanakya Pandit says, the intelligent human being should utilize this opportunity for what he could not achieve in his past life. In the animal species, the intelligence is limited. It is only limited to his food, his survival, just basic instincts, just survival instincts. It cannot think of Shastra, it cannot think of Lord, it cannot think of his own life after birth, death. These things, they don't think. They just want to eat and sleep. That is the basic ahara nidra bhayamaitan. But in human body, it's a rare opportunity to end this cycle of birth and death. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janine jatare shenam, iha samsare, baludustare, kripaya pare, pahi morare. All the acharyas, if you see, the one single instruction that human being should be doing is preparation for the ultimate perfection of life. That is defined as moksha. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. The real destination or the success of human life. Successfully, human life will be successful if he can attain this point or the success of salvation or liberation from the cycle of birth and death. The process of having to take another body after body. That's why it says, a human intelligent person, a person who is intelligent, must spend his life in the present life to prepare for a better future. One should spend the present life for a spiritual future, for a perfection. For the one present life, we should spend energy and work in such a way that our future life will be bright and prosperous. Future life. The present life should be we work for future life. But presently, unfortunately, there is no conception of future life. Future life for them, future means pre-death, post-retirement future. For us mostly, when we say I am saving for future, I am making arrangement for my future, is what? After I retire and before I die. If I should have enough money to spend. But nobody speaks of future post-death. Our real future is that anyway this life will anyway move on. We don't have much choice. Same body will continue, same thing will continue. But real future would be, what will be my destination post this body? For this, several logic Prabhupada has given. One good logic I felt was, there is no choice in changing body. Anyway we have to change body. Then anyway when you have to change body, why not change to the best of the bodies available? Like a student studying intermediate, he is in class 12. He has to change college, he has no choice, he has to go to next college. So you should think, anyway I have to change college, why not go to the best college after I pass out of this college, correct? He wants to go to the best of colleges available, whichever is his discipline, wherever he chooses, correct? Nobody wants to go to, okay, jo bhi milega, chalega, aisa nahi. So whichever is the best of the colleges available, he has. Similarly, when we have to anyway change body, we should think, when I am anyway changing body, why not I get a best of bodies? And the best of bodies is not in the material body, it is the spiritual body. The body, in the spiritual also there is a body. And the best body one can get is the spiritual body. And human life is meant for that. And again, Shastras, everywhere, same point is stressed. Durlabho manusho deho dehinam kshana bhanguraha. Human life is very rare. After going through so many cycles, we have come here. Human life is very rare. Durlabho manusho deho, but it can be destroyed within a second. Small accident, body gone. Small heart problem, body gone. It can be destroyed. Very vulnerable. Nobody can guarantee I will live any longer or any time. So body can be destroyed any moment. Durlabho manusho deho dehinam kshana bhanguraha tatrapi durlabham manya vaikunta priyadarshanam. Even more rare than just getting a human body is a human body where you get association of Vaishnavas, where you get the direction of how you want to succeed in life. What you mean by ultimate success of ending the cycle of misery once for all. Once for all. That is the success of human life. To come out of all this suffering of anxiety. Anxiety. We are all, is there anyone who is not disturbed here? Not anxious, not disturbed, always peaceful, always anxious? Prabhupada gives nice simple logic. When we become anxious, For example, when we become anxious, imagine we go to somebody's home, we have to stay in a relative's home. We are in a foreign place. When you go to a foreign place, we are what? Anxious, disturbed. We don't know which place. So suddenly we are put in some, like, Andaman, Nicobar Islands. We don't know what's happening. There is always fear, right? We don't know the place. We don't know. And even if you go to your relative's home for a few days, you're not really comfortable. You can't, relax. You can't eat everything. There is some limits. You behave yourself. You're cautious and always anxious. Correct? So there is always, they are not in calm and very normal position. We feel anxiety when we are in a foreign place. But when you are in your own place, at your own home, then you are peaceful. There is no anxiety, right? Because it's your own home setting. The example Prabhupada gives is, we are anxious in this material world because for us, this is a foreign place. This is not our place. Very nice logic. Because this place is foreign to us, we are anxious. And the way to become free from anxiety is when you are at your own home. And our home is the spiritual world. That's where we live peacefully. That is the goal. That is the instruction of all the acharyas. That is the instruction of Lord Krishna ultimately. And the very purpose, that is very interesting. The very purpose why Krishna comes to this material world. The very purpose why Krishna sends his devotees. The very purpose is the same. So this we will see through one small story. We have 10 minutes? Oh, okay. So very important story, instructive. So this story gives us a framework of the entire philosophy. And wherever I quote this, so they use, it convinces of why we came, who are we. Instead of the whole month-long lecture, this one story will do the job of giving a clear picture of who we are, why we are, what we are doing here. One simple story I'll tell you. So you have to follow the story I tell you. You have to visualize. Imagine there is a wonderful palatial building. There is a palace, vast, wonderful palace. You have seen palaces. So there is a very big, wonderful palace. With all the facilities it's spread over a very vast tract of land. All the wonderful facilities that one can ask for are there in the palace. There is a wonderful big palace. And inside the palace there is a owner. There is a Yajaman. Palace, you can visualize. Inside the palace there is a Yajaman, gentleman who is staying there. And he is taking care of 1,000 birds. Yajaman is there. Yajaman has 1,000 birds. And for the birds, he is providing all that they need. Facilities given, they are taken care of. All they need is given. The Yajaman is living happily with the 1,000 birds. And the birds are also happy under the care of the Yajaman. Okay. And outside the palace, through the window, we can see what is outside. Like outside house, you can see outside. So outside the palace, there is a huge, big tree. There is a big, very big tree, vriksha. But it's in the open, not in the palace. It's out in the open. It's not protected like the inside the palace, outside. So what happens? Out of these 1,000 birds, 100 birds will see through the window the tree outside the palace. So when they see the tree outside the body, outside the palace, they get a desire in their mind that we don't want to live inside the palace. Because if I have to live inside the palace, I have to every day morning salute the master, I have to praise him, I have to speak good about him, then I have to surrender him, I have to be under him. So I don't want to be under this Yajaman. I want to be free on my own. I don't want to be under the care of this Yajaman. So the thought comes that it will be free life. They want to live that life. So they tell the Yajaman, sir, we don't want to live under you, we want to go and live in the palace, in the tree there. The Yajaman tells, Baba, it looks green from outside, but life there is not that easy as you presume it to be. Because there is no protection, there is no shelter, you will not like it. It's not a very happy living there, it's miserable. But already the thought has gone in, damage has happened, so they want to go. So even though in medical science there is a discharge against advice. Heard of this? The doctor advises don't take discharge, but the patient says I want to take discharge. They write discharge against advice. That's your risk. So they were sent against advice. So it's a release against advice. The Yajaman told, don't go, please don't go. Please don't go. But they are bent upon going. Yajaman said, I can't help you any further because you will create problem here if I don't send you out. So against the advice of the Yajaman, they go into the tree. The first few days is very pleasant. They enjoy themselves, The first few hours of winter, very pleasant, very cold, very nice. But after a few hours, you feel it's painful. So in the beginning, they had fun. They are wandering around. They had fun. But as time passed, it started raining, and there is no shelter. And when they felt hungry, there is no food. When they felt very cold, there is no cover. And other bigger birds would come and bite them. So the misery started one after another. So they were wandering branch after branch. They were wandering. It's a very big tree. So they wandering. They couldn't figure out where they came from because of that shock, intense shock of pain. They forgot where they came from. They are suffering, crying, and they are wandering in the tree. They forgot where to come, where they came from, and they don't know what to do. They are suffering there. That becomes the norm of life. Suffering becomes norm. And all this is being watched by the Yajamana from inside. He's seeing. And he could see how they went, how they are suffering. And when he sees their pet birds, he's suffering, the Yajman also feels little sorry for them. And he feels pain. Because after all, they are his children. He feels very sorry for them. And he wants them to come back. Natural. Them to come back. Then he calls out, come back. He calls out. But they are not in a mood to listen, understand, or appreciate what the Yajman is saying. They cannot even hear. But their suffering continues. The Yajman doesn't give up at that point. He still continues to think about a plan to bring them back. How to bring, that's the motive, how to bring them back. So what happens? Not all the left. 900 still stayed back. They were still loyal to the Yajman. So among those 900 birds who stayed back and who were loyal, he calls his most reliable bird. Some of them who are reliable, competent, whom he can count on for any task. He calls one of them, please come here. So the bird which is loyal to the Yajman comes and asks, sir, what can I do for you? You called me? Yeah, I need a favor from you. I need a help from you. I want to get one work done. Yes, please instruct what you want me to do. I can do that for you. I will do it for you. He says, see those birds? They are your brothers. They were staying with you. They went there and they are suffering. I am calling them, they are not coming. So I want you to go there. I want you to go there, live in the tree, live among those birds, your brothers, spend time with them, gain their confidence, somehow get into conversation with them, and tactfully bring them back to the palace. That is a task. So this bird flies into the tree, lives within those birds, and the birds who are living there could see that this bird is different. He is always happy, he is not disturbed by like us, he is always peaceful, he is a different person. So naturally the attraction grows. When you see someone happy, very blissful, you want to talk to them or you want to hang out, connect to them. So they connect to each other, somehow conversation starts. So how are you, sir? Sir, very miserable. Always suffering. What makes you happy? I am happy for some reason. So then he says, do you want to suffering? This kind of suffering? No, sir, I don't want. And then the proposal is this. If there is a place, presume, hypothetically, if there is a place where these sufferings are not there, what you are going through, you can live a happy, peaceful life. Would you want to come? Why not? Correct. If I ask you, if there is a happy place where there is no anxiety, would you want to come? No morning going to office, no struggling. Monday is a scary day. Sunday you are enjoying. The Monday if you show our IT people, if you show tiger, they are not scared. But if you show Monday, the fear begins. Anyway, it's part of life. So if you don't want to go through this miserable cycle of birth and death. So would you want to come over there? So why not, sir? I would like to come. But is there such a place? That's the first question. Because there is a doubt that is there such a place? There is a place. Is there a place which is peaceful? We doubt actually. Is there such a place? Or somebody is faking. So if there is a place, I will definitely want to come. So for that, the bird who goes in convinces them there is a place where there is peace. We can live happily, and that place is the palace. And cutting it short, so he somehow tactfully brings a few birds. All of them didn't come. A few birds flew back to the palace, and they lived happily with the Yajman afterwards. A few who came back. So this is the whole cycle of our getting into the material world and coming back. Makes sense? So this whole cycle. Now there is a comparison. I will ask questions. What do you compare to the palace to? Vaikuntha Loka. The tree to the material world. The palace is the spiritual world. The tree is the material world. Yajman is the Lord is the Yajman is the Lord. Correct? And the birds are the Jivas. All the birds are Jivas. And in the two categories are there. the 100 birds which went outside, and the 900 birds which stayed back. 900 birds which stayed back are the perfected souls, what is mentioned here, liberated souls. Those who stayed and who continue to stay in the spiritual world are liberated souls. And the 100 birds which came here are the conditioned souls. That's why in a sarcastic way, one devotee told, all the Atmas stay in the spiritual world. Most of the Atmas stay in the spiritual world. Only some Mahatmas come here. Only some Mahatmas like us, they try a misadventure of wanting to come here. So they come here, these are 100 birds. Last question, what is the bird which was sent? Who do you compare? That is the spiritual master. The spiritual master comes here not to enjoy this world like us. He comes here to take us back to the spiritual world upon the instruction of the Lord. So Lord gives instruction that all living entities should come back to the spiritual world and live happily with the Lord. So this is our actual identity as the living entity. And if you scan through the entire Shastras, all the Shastras, the Puranas, the Itihasas, Vedanta, all the Shastras, if you scan through all the scriptures, then you will see only this message, that our actual identity is the Jivatma, and somehow or other, by our mistake, we have come to this material world, and for having come to this material world, we are going through this suffering of having to accept body after body, and when we are living in a body, there is a disease, there is a old age, there is so much of mental agony, miseries from other living entities, misery because of our own mind, all the kind of complications we go through when we are in material existence. And the solution for all these problems, we are trying some stopgap solution, small solution. That doesn't help. The permanent solution for all these problems is to end our material existence, which is by way of spiritual practice. Correct? So this is Srila Prabhupada mentioned that this ISKCON movement is a cultural and educational institution where we are taught these truths of life, and also where we are taught the process to achieve that perfection. We are taught about perfection, what is human life, what is that perfection about, and we are given a process or a system or a sadhana marga to achieve that perfection. And that path is the process of Krishna consciousness, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The chanting, the reading of Bhagavad Gita, the association with devotees, and the practice of Krishna consciousness, all this will gradually lead us to perfection. I think by now you would have already experienced how it works, because this cannot be forced. You have to, what makes you come back to this program is the experience you go through while practicing Krishna consciousness. So please continue the good practice, and we will make further progress gradually as we practice more. Thank you. I stop here. Is there any one question that you want to discuss? It's a very detailed science, especially in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. The more inquisitive you are, the more you want to learn. You have to dive deep into Shastras. As you study more, you will get more and more details. So I encourage you to please read our books scrutinizingly, then you will understand more of it. I'll stop. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So we will say one time Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. So now we have Prasad. Request everyone to come. So we will quickly put out the mass and we will put Prasad.